Hello everyone. Let's talk about getting out of check or learning ways to defend when our king is under attack. For most chess players who are usually beginners, I have noticed that the first thing that always comes to their mind when their king is under check is to quickly grab the king, as if the only solution to the problem is to move the king somewhere, and that is always a mistake. And I make this video to help you avoid those mistakes and to change the way we handle the situation. Okay, let's get started. Now, here in this position, white obviously is under check by the black group. Now, always remember that there are always three ways to stop the checkmate. Number one is we can capture the piece that attacks the king. Number two is we can use a piece to block the check. Now, how do we do that? We try to look for a piece that could be put in between the rook and the king. And here we have the knight that we can use to block the check. And the last choice would be to try to find a place to move the king somewhere safe. And here we cannot move here. There is a rook. We cannot also move on that square because the rook is pointing there, so we can escape on the h2 square. Okay, we have another situation here in which the king is under check by the bishop. And here, of course, always remember the three choices that you have: to capture, to move away, or to block the check. So here, moving away should not be a choice here, because once you move the king, that means you cannot castle anymore. If you move it up, same thing, you cannot castle, and also you leave the king in the middle of the board, which is not a good idea. Here, blocking the check is also okay. Yeah, we can block with the bishop, we can block with the knight. We can also use the pawn to block the check so that it's no longer giving a check. Can we use the queen to block the check? That would be a very bad idea, because of course the queen worth 9 points and the bishop has only 3 points. Here the best solution is just to take the bishop and we would win a piece. Okay, now I'm going to show you many positions and examples that will really help you remember or help you improve your ways to defend against checkmate. So here, another position is the rook is giving a check. Now, can we capture the rook? Oh, this bishop is not there, so we cannot do that. So here we also don't have a piece to put in between the king and the rook. So the only choice here is to move away. Okay. The next one, practice. The bishop is giving a check. Now, some of your opponent might say it's a checkmate, but you have to take a look. Here, it's not a checkmate because the knight can still save the game by taking. We can capture. Okay. The next one is who is checking. This time it's black to move. Now, black is under attack by a bishop. It's in check. Now, obviously moving is not a choice because look at this. There is a rook pointing on those squares. So the king cannot really escape. Now, the only solution would be to put a piece in between this bishop and the king. But which piece would we be able to use? Now, we cannot do this because that would be a free piece for white. Now, we cannot also move the rook here because the rook is worthy than the knight. Yeah, the rook worth more than the knight. So here we have to use the knight to block, and we are not going to lose anything because if he capture, we will also capture, and that's a fair exchange. Okay, let's keep going. And here we have a rook giving a check to the king, and obviously the king has nowhere to go and cannot block. We can capture. Next one. Here the knight is giving a check. The king would be tempted to move away, but moving away would not be a good idea because not only the king is attacked, but the queen is also attacked. So here the best choice for black would be just to capture the piece that gives a check. Okay, next one. What do you think here? Of course, the bishop attacks, cannot move there, we cannot capture the piece, and we cannot also put to block the check. So we have to move it one space. Okay, and the last one. Here, the bishop is giving check to the king, and we can move away. You know, We can also, can we use a piece to block? Okay, I think there is nothing there. So here, black actually can capture the bishop that is attacking the king. Yeah, and win a piece. Okay, so that is how we defend when our king is checked. We have three choices. Always remember that when you are in check, you always give yourself those three choices, either to move away, to block, or to capture, and never uh, allow yourself to touch the king and then think later. So I hope there is something there that you can learn, and I will see you in the next videos to come again.